everyone, welcome once again to Arrow Discussions. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And we want to apologize for how belated this is.
I don't feel bad.
You don't feel bad at all?
I don't.
Okay, then I'm going to be nice to our audience, Eric, and say, sorry folks, that we are putting these last two episodes together, but we're going to talk about City of Blood and Streets of Fire all at the same time. We're not going to split this up. We're just going to talk about these all together today, and this is probably going to be a little bit more generalized than our show usually is, at least these days, since we're putting these two episodes together. And also, it's super late at night here.
And these two episodes bleed together. I mean, essentially,
they do.
Essentially, these two episodes, I assume the finale, it's a three-parter. It's not really separate episodes.
No, certainly not. Although, when you put the island stuff together with them, I would say that these last two episodes, there are certain thematic things that go through one and not so much the other.
Right.
But the for instance, City of Blood, the ideas of sacrifice and things are a lot more prominent there than with Streets of Fire. And with Streets of Fire, the big thing going back and forth seems to mostly just be, hey, I got the Mirakuru cure, come get it.
It's an episode of that scene in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom where everybody's kicking the... I'm pretty sure it's a glowing blue vial across the Chinese dance floor.
That's great. And then, Felicity Smoke is just standing in a corner, and she's like, why does it always have to be a color? Why can't it be clear?
Yeah, what's wrong with it all clear?
Also, a departure from what we usually do today, we're going to not talk about any of the comments from last time like we usually do, just because we're 2 episodes out from that now, and there's
this is probably going to be a longer episode.
Yeah, and there's probably also plenty of stuff there that isn't going to factor in as much now because, we know more things now. So anyway, sorry, folks, if there was anything that you were really hoping that we would bring up, but we want to make sure and kind of jump into this and get everything said that we want to say. We've got just one more episode after this next week before we get into summer hiatus. Or actually not this week, I guess not next week, I guess, here in a couple days.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, let's go ahead and jump right into it. City of Blood and Streets of Fire. The streets are on fire.
I was really disappointed that Willem Dafoe didn't show up at any point. I kept waiting and waiting. Nope.
Did you know that Streets of Fire is a Bruce Springsteen song, and that's what they named it after?
It wasn't the movie? Or
no,
the movie was named after that.
The movie was named after that also.
Oh.
But what's really interesting is that the second to last episode of last season was called Darkness on the Edge of Town, which is not only also a Bruce Springsteen song, but is on the same album.
Interesting. I thought you were going to say is also a film.
No, but that sounds like a great name for a film, though.
Yeah.
The Darkness on the Edge of Town.
That's what the third Dark Knight trilogy should have been. Dark Knight on the Edge of Town.
On the Edge of Town. Speaking of, let's just jump straight into this. Where would you like to start, Eric?
Okay, let's start with my theory about how this season was written.
Yeah, okay, sure. Go ahead and go there. Because I said that because I had a place I was thinking about going, and then I was like, well, that's kind of the very end of Streets of Fire. Let's jump somewhere before that. So what do you think happened?
All right, here's what I think. I think they planned to the halfway point. They knew they were going to reveal Slade, and then they had some vague ideas about what they were going to do in the second half of the season. And then they got to the second half of the season, and they couldn't figure out how to make it all pan out. That's what I think happened. I think the reason the first half of the season felt so strong was because they were only planning to that halfway point. And I think the second half of the season they didn't have... I don't think they planned out the whole season like we thought they did.
I think you might really be onto something, and that's incredibly disappointing. But there are, and as I always say, we're not quite done, but the last episode is not gonna.
A lot of things we were holding out for really didn't pan out.
It really didn't. Yeah, exactly. And yeah. There are several things, and we'll get into them that are just sort of like, okay, so why did that have to happen, and what exactly was Slade's plan, and how did Blood figure in exactly? And I don't know. There's just a lot of weird dropped things that, like I said, we'll get into.
Laurel's character arc. And
Yeah.
we're going to go out of a way to make sure that you know that she's going to be bad because she says, I let the darkness in. Hey, guess what? 2 episodes later, she's the most altruistic character on the show for no
I
reason.
know. I had exactly the same note. She is suddenly the big voice of reason, and they try to play it up like I went through all these horrible things and I've had this kind of epiphany and figured my life out, but you could tell that that's not where they were going with it 2 episodes ago.
No, and that doesn't feel like it's not natural. I, I,
It's
I
not
really
natural at
feel
all.
like, last season, we had our ups and our downs throughout the season, and then it kind of all came together at the end. I feel like this was really strong until maybe about the Huntress episode, and we've just been slowly skidding to the plane crash.
Well, do you feel like there's been a lot of just writing themselves into a corner now that we're to the end of
Well,
this?
it's a lot. I mean, since Huntress, I think we've had a lot of let's make sure that we spell this out so that 2 episodes later it looks like we planned it. We had that consistently for a number of episodes in a row leading up to this big finale, and then it really seems like they just didn't know what they were doing,
Now, I want
specifically with
to
Blood and Laurel. But
Yeah, I want to put this in perspective though, and be level-headed about it enough to say that this was an incredibly ambitious season.
oh no, absolutely.
They tried lots and lots of things that you'd never think they could make work, and they had a lot of like really brave envelope pushing choices, especially early on and up through the middle. That like like it's unfortunate that a lot of this doesn't seem to be coming together the way we were hoping it would, and there's also still plenty of stuff here that I like, but I have to at least give them props for trying
Oh,
stuff, you
regardless
know.
of the of whether or not this all panned out, um, it's a good season for the most part.
Yeah, it doesn't change the fact that what's thrilling is thrilling and what surprised us surprised us.
Yeah, just because it doesn't all fit together when we get to the end, that doesn't mean that it didn't work back before.
I mean, it'll hurt it when you go back and watch it again,
Oh, I'm sure.
unfortunately, which is very interesting because I'm going back again
And
and watching
season
season one,
one feels more
and
tied together.
everything makes a lot more sense. Yeah, for instance, something I was really surprised by that I hadn't noticed before. When do you remember the episode where Malcolm? It's Trust but Verify. Do you remember the episode where that episode where Malcolm puts together that dinner with Tommy under the pretense of getting to know Laurel, but it was actually to get him to sign that paperwork?
Right.
Well, it hadn't occurred to me that once we got to the undertaking, that the whole point of that was his mother had this place in the Glades, this like shelter that helped people, and he wanted to shut it down so that those people wouldn't die.
Oh, really?
I guess that's got to be what it was because it was in the Glades, and he's trying to get it shut down. So the only thing I can figure is he's trying to get certain people out of the Glades.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only interpretation I could come up with, but I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I guess we'll talk about Malcolm too. Let's start talking about Blood because that's the big thing that is totally baffling to me. Okay, somebody please explain to me because either I'm an idiot or this show really is not giving us any kind of explanation whatsoever for this. Why in the world did Slade need Blood to be mayor?
Why did he need him to run the Mirakuru test? He serves
I
no function.
I don't know.
And why did the person that runs the Mirakuru test and be mayor have to be the same person? But specifically the mayor thing, it didn't do anything. Like he says, you've got, now that you're mayor, you've got a job to do.
Yeah, and then what is
Yeah,
it?
what does he have to do?
Yeah, yeah. Watching that again, having seen the second episode, I was sitting there like, okay, did I miss something? I was waiting for it. I was like, yeah, yeah, because he's like, okay, you have a job to do. Yeah, and then he never did anything, and then all of a sudden, he's almost a totally different character, right?
Oh
Like
no, he is a 100% completely different. Well, okay, here's the thing. In the beginning, he's set up as like kind of loving the city, but I think we always assumed that he was like a scumbag, right? Like that everything that he said to Oliver was him being two-faced and like putting on airs,
yeah, that he
pretending to
had
be the White Knight of Starling City. And then
right,
when we
yeah,
get to the
this whole
end, it's like,
duplicitous thing.
oh no, I really was a good guy the whole time.
Well, here's what I don't
He loves
understand.
this city.
The big thing that makes him change his mind about Slade and call up Oliver to give him the Mirakuru cure is Slade's gonna let innocent people die.
Which he had no problem with when he was abducting them
Which,
off the street.
well, not only that, but even just disregarding that and going to what was happening in the city already, obviously innocent people were going to die, and your whole plan hinged on it. His plan. I like the idea that he and Slade have different plans they're working toward, and that he naively thinks that Slade is working with him toward, if not the same means, their means coincide
But
somehow.
what did they think
But
what did he
whatever.
think that he was working
I
towards?
know. But I'm just saying that, like, I would have liked that idea if it had panned out. Anyway, but so his whole plan is I'm going to. It's kind of undertaking-esque. His whole plan is I'm going to become mayor, and then immediately, because this isn't suspicious at all, the day after I become mayor, I'm going to let the whole city get all messed up, create this apocalypse with a bunch of super soldiers, and then rise the city up out of the ashes and be the leader the city needs and create whatever utopia kind of thing he thinks he's going to create. It would have been nice, by the way, to have some kind of specifics of what he thought he was going to create, because it's all very vague. I don't even, at least with the Glades last season, I understood why Malcolm and Oliver's father thought the Glades needed to be
Well, and
destroyed.
and like I
I don't
remember a couple episodes ago,
I don't know what is so wrong with the city now that he thinks he needs to save it. I
yeah,
don't,
that made more
it's
sense at the beginning of the season when it was still kind of run down.
right, yeah. Well, I'm sure that's still sort of kind of what it is, but like it would need to be like screwed up to the point of no return, like we have all this corruption everywhere and stuff, and it seems like they're doing that kind of Nolan Batman Gotham thing of our city is like the worst thing ever, and it has like a rotten soul, and we personify it and we talk about it like that. And part of the problem is that people don't talk about cities like that in real life. Not really, not to this kind of extent. And so you have to create something very extreme to make me buy that. And I'm just saying I would have liked some
Yeah,
specifics, but
especially since most of the threats this season have either come from Slade or come from outside the city.
yeah, that's a really good point. And so, I don't know what he thinks he's saving the city from, but he's obviously delusional. It's just that his whole plot hinged on destroy the city and then rise up from the
Well, and
ashes.
there was that
So
scene
what
a
did he think
couple
was going
episodes
to
ago.
happen?
There was that scene a couple episodes ago where he's yelling at Slade because it's when Slade kidnaps Thea and Moira's points go up. And he's yelling at Slade saying, "You told me that I would get to be mayor," and Slade says, "No, I said I would give you an army to take this city." What was that about? What did he think that was?
Well, and then that whole thing is inconsistent with the fact that Slade set it up so that Moira would get killed to make absolutely positive that Blood became mayor. And wouldn't it have been really awkward? I mean, this wouldn't have happened, And I guess he could sort of maybe bank on it, but wouldn't it have been really awkward for Slade if he had set up that situation of you have to choose, and then Oliver had chosen Thea?
Well, and
Because I mean, like, chosen Thea to die. Because I mean, remember that, and we'll talk about this too because I thought this was silly. Remember that Blood writes up the notes for, or not the note. He writes up a press release before Moira dies, knowing that she's going to die. So, like, Slade sets up that whole you have to choose situation, but Slade had already chosen who it was going to be. Now, again, I guess it's that kind of thing where he's banking. You know, he knows that Oliver's, not even if he really did have to choose, that he wouldn't pick, Thea over his mother, but still, I don't know. I thought that whole thing was kind of is kind of funny. It's like, well, it's a good thing that worked out exactly the way you wanted it
well,
to.
that we can at this point we can say that about all of his plans,
Yeah, he knows what's going to happen because he's read the script.
except for apparently Laurel when he went and told her to distract Oliver even more, and then that didn't pan out at all. Um,
Yeah,
and what
that's
is his
true.
plan? Because he's had no conversation. He's not talking about how this city that Oliver loves is going to be extinguished. He still seems to just want to pick on Oliver. Why is he doing all of this?
Well, no, he is talking about that now.
Is he?
Well, he has that whole conversation with Blood, and he says that I have, yeah, he has this whole rhetoric of I have to take away Oliver's city away from him because he cares about it.
Oh yeah, I guess. Well,
Yeah, no, there's this whole thing about that. Yeah.
and we get this line where
But I still want to know who the last person is that has to die. I guess we'll find that out next
I
episode. But
I am going to be furious if it's Laurel. Not
it's
not
got
because she'll die,
oh,
but because it's the
that's good.
person he cares about the most.
Yeah, I don't want, I want it to be Sarah.
I want it to be Laurel to die, but I don't want it to be Laurel for the
No,
reason
no,
that.
I don't want Sarah to die. I just mean for for the sake of the story, I want the person that he's talking
Which,
about
by
to
the
be
way,
Sarah.
she came back with no explanation of who she went and visited.
Yeah, and I want to know that, and I hope that they don't forget about it and they tell it and they give it to us. And I feel like the bottom line right now with what we're talking about is a lot of this does seem kind of haphazard and like they made some weird story choices and really didn't have plans for them. And again, maybe we'll find out that there was a plan for that, but I don't know why she had to be written out right then. She left for one episode and then showed right back up, and I'm also not real sure what possessed her to come back. I mean, there's even a line about it where she's like, I don't know, I just came back.
Yeah,
It's like I
really
just had to be
feels
here.
like they had these grand ideas, and when they got to the end, they didn't know how to carry it out.
Yeah, it seems like it strikes me as being overwhelmed.
Which,
Like
to be
they
fair,
got too
this happens
fish
in comic book runs, not
all the time. Yeah,
infrequently. Yeah.
this is a very Lost kind of thing, right? It's just like we set up all these really interesting different things, and we don't know how to pay them off.
Well, it didn't take
But
5 seasons to disappoint us.
well, but even I mean, like I don't want to get into that show, but there's even some kind of last season stuff that's like that. It's like we set up some stuff and we didn't know how to pay it off. But like with Sarah, she couldn't have known that there was about to be this big army that was gonna kill everyone right then. I don't know what possessed her to come back.
Yeah, I don't think she
Did she have
left the
time to see
city.
something on the news and then show back up? I don't know. You don't think she left the city? I thought the whole idea was that she left the city.
I don't think she left the city.
Oh, well then I wonder who she went to see.
Yeah, I'm not
But I
sure.
was
I
wondering.
get the feeling she didn't leave the city. Just by the fact that she just kind of popped back up. Maybe I'm just completely, trying to make things make sense that don't. But
Yeah.
there's a lot in these 2 episodes where it's just like, oh, hey, by the way, we're putting like Malcolm. Do you want to talk about Malcolm? Because that actor's great and he's doing some really good stuff. Where has he been? What has he been doing? Why did he choose right now to come back for Thea? How did he know that this stuff was going down?
Well, actually, no. He explains that.
Does he?
Yeah. He says I came back because your mother died.
Oh, that's right.
No, that's explained. In fact, I wrote it. I had the same question until I took that note out. No, he explains it. That's fine. I have no problem with that.
It's a little convenient, but
What's convenient about it?
I don't know that
It's
he's there.
convenient.
It
It's convenient that Slade for some weird reason felt like he had to make sure she died so that Blood became mayor, and then he doesn't use that for anything. That's where the convenience comes in. But I think that Malcolm showing up in order to take care of his daughter because her mother just died works. That's not a problem.
wouldn't it have been nice if that was set up more throughout the season.
Um, I think they intentionally set him up so that we knew he was still alive because they wanted to maybe do something with him down the road, and then came up with an excuse to write him out, which was Moira's whole "I called Ra's al Ghul on you," so he has to run off, and then now he's risking coming back because she died. I think they set up the League of Assassins at the beginning of the season to tell us where which was by the way I think a really cool reveal for Malcolm. So we finally found out where his training came from. Season one, we're told that he leaves for 1 or 2 years and we don't know where he went. And it's cool that that's what it turned out to be. But anyway, so like we get that, and then that's also an explanation for Sarah's training. But then I think that they have maybe this whole time had this plan of, okay, we're going to set them up, but we're not really going to give them a season until like 3. I would be very surprised if next season didn't center a lot around League of Assassins.
Well, that's if Malcolm makes it through next episode.
Yeah, we should talk about that too. Well, I don't want to leave too many loose threads and forget to talk about stuff, so let's go ahead and talk about that. But then I want to get back to Blood because I still have more Blood questions.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so how did you feel about that? Kind of out of nowhere, yeah?
Not only that, but I hated how they shot it because I'm going to be furious if next episode it's like, oh, I shot the wall.
Oh, that's a good
Like a
point.
Smallville thing where it's
You're,
like, oh no,
you're
a truck passed right in front of him right as I fired the gun.
You're right. In fact, there's every chance that wait, did we not see him drop?
No, we just see her pull the trigger.
Oh, you're right. They stop on the barrel, don't they? And
Hmm.
then it goes to credits. Okay. All right. I guess I'm remembering it wrong. I thought we saw him drop, but maybe we don't.
No, there's an implication, but no, we watch her pull the trigger a couple of times, and then
Well,
she like quivers, and then no pun intended, and then it says arrow.
maybe it would be unfair for us to really dissect that until we see the end of it. Because I mean, I'm with you. That would be silly, but I don't
But it
know.
also feels lackluster to bring him back just to have him killed like this.
Well, and also, I just don't buy that she kills a man in cold blood, no matter who it is.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't buy. I mean, I get that she's been pushed to a really horrible place, but they got me really liking that character this season, and maybe they want to do a kind of Laurel thing of get her to like a horrible rock bottom place because of all the weird things
Oh,
that
I
have happened
hope not.
this
They did
season.
it terribly with Laurel.
But they don't. Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't want them to do it by making her a murderer. I mean, what I'd like to see them do with her is because I feel like the way she feels right now makes enough sense. I like to see them have all of the stability that she built up in her life get her through some of this stuff, right?
Well,
Um,
I felt like, I mean, this isn't going to mean anything to you, but there's a Green Arrow storyline called City Walls where basically Star City becomes overrun by monsters, and Mia or Maya, the who's not yet Speedy at that point, she kills someone at the end of it, and it's a very similar kind of shot. So I wonder if they were playing with something like that. I feel like there's no way next episode they have time to like deal with this, right? Like on a character level.
I don't see how.
I don't
We're
know.
just still doing this big, war with Mirakuru soldiers.
Yeah. Also, I'll say for predictions, I don't see an out for this. They're not like the robots in Phantom Menace or the Chitauri in Avengers, they don't have an off switch. What is the out for this army of super soldiers?
Well, I feel like the only out is
I guess the cure.
figure out how to mass produce the cure. I would, and yeah, you're right. Maybe we should say this for predictions, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do something where like they get the cure to Amanda Waller and she figures out a way to mass produce it.
Oh yeah, I forgot Amanda Waller was involved in this because she kind of shows up.
Well, that's the big cliffhanger at the end, right? Is she's about to nuke the city. That's important.
Yeah, she's not going to.
No, but I mean that's the looming threat right now. I mean Oliver's got all these different things to worry about, and then all of a sudden here comes Argus. I liked that, and it's because it kind of gives a really good solid reason for all the Suicide Squad stuff to have been introduced earlier in the season. I kind of like that that's in there.
Yeah,
I mean, it is one more thing to suddenly pile on, but it makes sense. The kind of moral compromising thing of we have to destroy this city in order to not have all these uh, super soldiers take over the world. I'm fine with
no,
that.
no, no. That of all of the things they set up and kind of crammed into these episodes, that's the one that feels the most natural. I'm actually surprised she didn't deploy the Suicide Squad into the city. This seems like just the kind of job that you would send them in for.
Well, I mean, maybe that's also going to happen. I don't know.
And the League of Assassins will show up,
Yeah, just everybody see it's one big
and then the
party.
Teen Titans will finally show up.
I'm hoping that I'm not uh, getting getting myself mixed up with what events happen when. But there was a line that Oliver had in the second part of this. I guess we've mostly been talking about the second part of this, but there's a line that he has where he says that the super soldiers aren't men anymore and that they have to kill them because they're not men anymore. But I think at the time that he says that, they're either working on getting the cure to them or they have it already. And I was a little bit bothered by him saying that because his whole deal right now and the thing he's berating himself over and the thing he almost committed suicide over last episode was I could have cured Slade and instead I chose to kill him. And so it seems really kind of wrong that he wouldn't do everything he could do to save these guys.
Yeah, but this is something that they've been weird on before. Because remember, like a couple episodes before that, he was feeling bad because he didn't kill Slade when he had the chance, and
Well, that's true too. Yeah, but I think the difference is at that point they didn't have a cure. Now he knows he can make it, so that's a problem. But I'm not convinced that the writers at that point knew about that. See, it's a little bit awkward. But like if he's thinking of it as once you're on Mirakuru, you're not really a person anymore, then it would make sense that he wants to kill Slade. Except if he knows he can make a cure, then they are a person because just by definition, if you can cure them, then they would be a person again. So they're a person now.
right.
Um, so I don't know. That's yeah. I think it's a little sloppy. That's all I'm saying.
I think this whole finale's
It's
a
a little
lot
sloppy.
sloppy. Yeah, especially given your last season where everything came together so well. This season, I feel like very little is coming together. What is the point of Isabel? Like
Uh,
she's just another, like when you get down to
get
it,
Summer Glau in a cool costume.
yeah, she's another Mirakuru soldier. She doesn't need to be there.
I mean, maybe they'll do something with her down the road, but I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised if she.
that's the thing. I guess she could stick around after all of this and continue on further, but
I don't like that Blood gets killed, and I don't like it for a couple of
I
reasons.
don't like his last line is "I love this city."
First of all, okay, but I don't like that Blood gets killed because first of all, it's pretty obvious it has to happen because Oliver told him his secret and he's not going to make it through this season.
Right.
right? Knowing that.
Well, Oliver didn't
Also,
tell him. He knew his secret, and he threatened to reveal it.
no, that's not. No, no, I'm talking City of Blood. He tells him a secret.
Oh,
He comes right
oh,
out and says, "I'm the Arrow."
right,
So what I'm saying is, at the moment he says that, you know Blood's not going to make it out alive this season. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because now he knows Oliver's secret. He's the mayor. He's the evil mayor, and he knows the superhero's secret identity. He's not going to make it out alive.
right.
Like they might as well have just in neon spray painted this guy's going to die somewhere in the finale. Um, I felt like they kind of did it on purpose so that they could get rid of him. Yeah, you know, it's almost like they set up this potentially really interesting character, and then he was the big thing they couldn't figure out what to do with. So they just, I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this, but it just seems like they're like, okay, let's just have Oliver come right out and say his secret, so that we can have an excuse, not narratively, but just so that we can have an excuse to kill him, because we don't want him in our show anymore. That maybe that's not what it is, but it's I don't know, it's irritating. I don't know why Oliver told him that.
Okay, you know what's going to make all of this okay and make sense is next episode's going to start with Slade being furious, asking why she killed him because he was the linchpin to the plan, and then he's going to explain how he fits into the plan and how Isabel has now ruined the plan.
I hope that's what happens, except that he sent her after him because he double crossed him.
Well, I mean, at the best, that was a break his legs, send her after him. It wasn't a
So if
kill
you're
him.
Slade, you would say, "Hey, you really strong super soldier that I've been having kill everything that moves. Don't kill this guy, Kay, because he's the linchpin of
Well,
my
I've
whole
clearly
plan."
been working with him. He's important.
But you, yeah, I let him become mayor. It was necessary. That for some reason is still a thing because politics somehow still
And then
matter
the
at
pawns
this
will go
point.
first.
No, I am glad that you mentioned that though, just to say that yeah, we aren't done yet. There is a chance that some of this could be cleared up. I don't know. But the other reason I don't like that Blood dies is that this very interesting idea comes out 30 seconds before it happens, where he says where he has this crazy delusion that he's still going to be mayor and he's going to fix the city. And Oliver says, they're not going to let you do that. And he says, well, nobody knows anything, and I'm going to tell them your secret if you tell them mine. And Oliver says, do what you have to. And that sets up a potentially really interesting relationship for them. And then 30 seconds later, he dies. I would have really liked to have seen a season 3 where he's the mayor.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, why did they do that? Why would you have all that interesting setup and then kill him 30 seconds later? Why did they write it like that?
Maybe he comes back next episode with Mirakuru. Maybe he's not really dead.
Man, maybe Slade walks in and goes, "What have you done? He was the linchpin of my plan. Somebody hand me some Mirakuru."
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Um, is one of the Mirakuru soldiers Solomon Grundy?
No, I don't think so.
Because one of them has like a distinct reaction to blood, and he doesn't talk. I was like, is that supposed
I
to be
guess that's
Solomon
possible.
Grundy? Is that supposed to be him back?
Maybe so, and they just haven't revealed it yet. That would be really interesting. That would be a really funny thing, though, to throw it as one more thing to throw in the last episode. It finally takes off his mask and he goes, Solomon Grundy, born on Monday. And then we're like, wow, they pulled out all the stops
No,
now.
that's the season finale, or that's the finale. Is after everything's resolved, there's like one guy left, and he takes his mask off, and he's like, Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, Arrow, and that's how the season ends.
That's great. So they killed off between these two episodes, or maybe it was both in this last one. They killed off two kind of minor characters that I wanted to bring up. They killed off Kate Spencer.
Yep.
I was really surprised by that. I kind of thought they were going to do something with her later, but no, she's dead. The other one, this is very minor, but and I don't know if you noticed that he's a recurring character, but the guy that they always go to that the police that Quentin always goes to get surveillance footage and stuff. He's been around since the first season, since early first season,
No, I didn't
and
even catch that.
he always has like these snarky, fun lines that he has, and like in this one, he has that line where he says, "I voted for that guy," and he's looking up all that information on Blood's computer where they find the press release. They very unceremoniously have. I'm almost positive it's him. They very. We'll see if he shows up again later. I'm gonna be like, oh man, I thought they killed you off. But very unceremoniously, if I saw it right, I'm pretty sure that one of the Mirakuru soldiers just like broke his neck and threw him to the ground, and I was like, oh man, I liked that guy.
I guess we haven't talked about Quentin and how interesting all of that stuff is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because we now have the police essentially agreeing to work with the vigilante, which I know this is the superhero thing and everything, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, okay, Chief of Police, the only man that can save us is a man with a bow and arrow.
I know, I had exactly the same thing, and it's kind of silly even when Laurel says it, right, in the previous episode when she's like, "This city needs the arrow," and I'm like, "But why?"
Yeah, in this situation, how much does he really help?
Just yeah, just in the situation. I mean, at least at that point, Laurel might have been told by his sidekicks about the Mirakuru cure and stuff, but Quentin doesn't know about any of that. So if you're Lance, you're like, all right, we got a whole police force and that guy. And and he seems to always really know what he's doing. So I'm fine with the police
It's
working with
like he
him.
met all of these people before on some kind of island or something, and he knows all their secrets and their
yeah,
plans.
Yeah, exactly. It's just he doesn't have any information. He doesn't know that Arrow has a plan, and especially he doesn't know that he's got a cure. It's like the first thing Quentin should be saying is, "Okay, Arrow, we're gonna work with you because you're competent and you have maybe some resources we don't have." Like exploding arrows, I guess. Um, but could you maybe give us a hint as to what you can do against, 500 or however many soldiers they have that are super strong and can break through anything? Because I'd like to know. So yeah, I don't know. I had the same note. I thought that was hilarious.
Um, can I talk about Laurel now? We've
Yeah,
kind of
go right
talked
ahead,
about it a
man.
little bit.
Yes.
What happened? They clearly had no plan for this character at all. It's
I
like
agree.
they planned everything out and then said, "Oh, well, what are we gonna do with Laurel?" And they're like, "Oh, well, let's send her down like a downward spiral, but not like too downward because that could be like really dramatic." And then like they got like halfway there, and they're like, "Okay, well, what if we have her recover for a little bit, and then we make her like a bad person, we kind of send her down a dark road, and then let's forget all of that. She's who she was in episode 19 of season one."
Yeah, let me suggest that if you just get rid of the "I'm embracing my darkness" stuff, it works better.
It still comes out of nowhere. And then I
I
still
think
hate
though
her
I
because I was coming around on her with the I'm embracing my darkness stuff because I was like, well, at least I know how to feel about her. And then they
right
throw
no
this at me, and I'm like, is she playing them the whole time?
Well, I think the way it's supposed, but no, because you can sort of tell, like when they give us those intimate moments where it's just kind of her standing there, like she's got this very wide-eyed, "I'm hopeful for the future" thing going on now, which is amusing because the whole city's falling
Well,
apart.
and
But
what makes it worse is that she's doing the same thing that she learned not to do in the Huntress episode. She is running into places she has no business being and immediately getting stuck and having to be rescued.
that's a good point. No, that's no, that's right. Well, yeah, I'm not sure what the impetus is exactly because she's known the secret identity for a couple episodes. They've been kind of stretching that out a little bit, and so it's not like he finds out that Oliver Queen is the Arrow and then like her whole world changes. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I guess it's
that's come to nothing. Aside from
what do
her,
you,
like she just showed up and like when she shows up, it's almost like she's known for a while and she's been hanging out with them. Like there's nothing to that. Slade planned everything out except for apparently that, because it didn't come to anything.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Why did Slade tell her
I
that?
mean, remember, that was a
What did he think
cliffhanger
was
at
going
the
to
end of
happen?
an episode.
No, you're right. Well, and again, like that was supposed to be like this big blow. But going back to Slade for a second, because this is all connected, that's part of the wonkiness of all this, right? That Slade is stringing it along, trying to hurt Oliver in really subtle ways, and then boom, he's got to blow up. No, I'm not blow up, but I mean he's got to attack the whole city with super soldiers the day after Blood becomes mayor. Why? I mean, it seems like all he has on his hands is time. Like I don't know why all of this had to come to a head right now, except for it's the end of the season now.
But we
Like,
still
what am
don't know
I
where
missing?
he got his funding or his contacts, or that's kind of gimme stuff for supervillains, but
Maybe some of that is Blood. I don't know.
is Blood funding him? Or is he
See, I
funding Blood? I always got the impression he funded Blood.
I'm with you because remember that before he before like the news and stuff starts saying that he's this this monster we have to try to find, that he's a criminal. He's a public figure.
Right.
Like he goes on camera and gives like press conferences and things. Like I kept wanting to know what people thought he did for a living.
He's a billionaire philanthropist.
Art connoisseur,
Yeah,
something. Yeah. Uh
camera
so I don't know,
layer downer.
but anyway, yeah, I'm with you with the Laurel thing. I just feel like that all could have been handled a lot better because I think that on the surface of it, and I'm saying this in hindsight, of course, but I feel like just on paper, just this is a roadmap. We get her to a really embarrassing, awful, unfortunate place where she basically is her father after Sarah died. And then the thing that kind of helps to bring her out of it and gives her hope again is Arrow and finding out that Oliver is Arrow and then having like I don't know, I feel like that could have worked. Although I really resist the notion of she gets herself all back on track because she has to save Oliver. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I mean, that sounds good on paper. That's not how it was executed at all. She never hits that bottom. I mean, she loses her job, but she gets it right back.
Yeah, and that's kind of an easy thing that's been happening a little bit. There's some weird like, okay, we're making a big deal out of actions have consequences, but then we make it a little bit kind of easier to get stuff back. Like I wasn't sure about Quentin getting his detective shield back like that.
I feel like that's something that happens at the end of this when everything goes well.
Yeah, it's not like promoting someone in a field commission on the battlefield, right? Like it doesn't really work that way. And his superior officer that does that doesn't like the idea that they have to work with a vigilante, but he seems to be sort of condoning everything that he's done by doing that. Like they're working with the Arrow now. It's extenuating circumstances right now, but would that get him his detective shield back? Like isn't that when the rules are when you are normally playing by the rules, isn't that not the way you handle things? I'm
Uh,
just saying. I thought that was a little too easy.
yeah.
I'm gonna mention a few just random little notes here. When did we start calling the Arrow Cave the Foundry?
Um,
Has that been a thing for a while that I just missed?
I missed it too.
Because all of a sudden, these last two episodes, Oliver is constantly calling it the Foundry.
Yeah,
I
I
was
have no idea.
also, at what point did the Foundry get compromised?
Um, with
Because they have
Roy,
to prepare the
right?
clock tower. He says the foundry has been
Oh, by the way,
compromised.
where is Roy? Because they have
He's
this line where they say, like, oh, we're going to test it on him. Where is he?
well, he's there with them, like at the clock tower, I think.
Is he, like, tied down? Like, where?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, you see him.
oh, do you?
Yeah, they take him with them. I mean, you see him.
Because they had this line. I was like, is he just, like, out back, like, tied to a table? Like,
No, you see them. I mean, you see him inject them.
I know that, but, like, when they said that, like, I was like, where? Okay. I get what you're saying. Okay.
What else? Let's see here. I'm just looking at some notes. Lights in bird cages. I just thought that was interesting decoration, Eric.
Well, the clock tower's messed up. That's how you know things are serious is when they start breaking sets.
I really liked what the city looked like behind the clock tower. I thought that looked fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, that was really cool.
There's a lot of. I mean, we always talk about this, but this show never skimps out on production value.
No, no, they're really smart at how they do that stuff.
Well, why don't we go ahead and go on to best moment, worst moment, and if other things pop up here as I'm looking at this, I have a lot of notes, and we're like 45 minutes in, so
Yeah.
all right, so I guess this will be fun. Try to pick a best moment and a worst moment between the two. Just treat this as one episode.
Yeah, that's what I did for this when I did my notes.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I've got notes side by side, so I'm gonna have to pick
All
one.
right.
But all right,
My best moment is it's a little thing, but I loved Isabel talking about killing Felicity. It was just such a weird, like out of nowhere, like she's so annoying and peppy and self-righteous. I can't wait to kill her. And I thought it was a funny little scene.
well, it was especially funny because then she gets hit by Felicity.
Yep.
And then maybe one of the funniest Felicity moments of all time
Should
when
I hit
she
him again?
says,
Should I hit
"I don't know, should I hit him again?"
him?
That's great. My best moment is also a Felicity related thing, and I like her "You're not done fighting" speech
Oh yeah.
in the clock tower. I think it's pretty good. I think it's a lot better than Laurel's "You're not done fighting" speech in the previous episode.
But wait
Except
till
that
you
Laurel
get
doesn't.
till next episode's you're not done fighting speech from Quentin.
Yeah, and there's probably going to be one from Diggle, and then I would assume that Sarah and Oliver both interchangeably will each have a speech to the other one of you're not done fighting.
And then of
Um,
course, to make it all ironic and come full circle, there will be a tongue-in-cheek "You're not done fighting yet" speech that Oliver gives to Slade right before he takes him out.
that's great. All right, what was your worst moment, Eric?
My worst moment was the blood being stabbed and just in one scene, all of these plot lines from the season just being made useless and just kind of throwing that character away.
Yeah, I had exactly the same thing. I just want to know why Slade needed him to be mayor. I don't get that.
Or the Mirakuru guy, like, why did he need him to do that too?
I mean, at least Blood's reason for becoming mayor makes some kind of sense.
Well, I mean, on Blood's side.
No, I know. I'm just saying that, like, at least he had a plan.
Yeah, but
Um,
what did he think his like I on his side, why does he get involved with Slade at all? Like what does he think Slade's gonna give him?
well, yeah, Mirakuru,
How does that help his goal though?
because his whole goal is mess up a bunch of the city and then get everyone to rally behind him as a leader, so he becomes mayor first.
He was already
And
there.
no, but he didn't have Mirakuru before Slade. So he needed. What I'm saying is he needed a weapon. It's the same thing as like the Undertaking. He needed some kind of a weapon
Oh, okay, but
to do that, and his weapon would be the super soldiers.
but he was already mayor before the attack. I feel like
But he didn't have Well, right, but what's your point?
Like, I feel like his thing was like, I don't know if I'm actually become mayor. I'm gonna team up with this insane mercenary to make sure I become mayor. I don't.
Well, I think that was part of it too. But again, his whole plan for the super soldiers, I mean, he explains it in the episode. His whole plan for the super soldiers is tear the city down so that I can make everyone think that it's bad enough that they need to listen to my vision. So he has to become mayor first because he's the leader of the city.
Right. Oh
Tell
yeah,
you
I
what I
guess.
want to
Okay,
know.
that makes sense. Yeah, when you explain, like, okay.
Yeah, so his plan makes some kind of sense. Now, it's silly as all get out, right? Because, like, really, the day after, no one's going to be suspicious of that? And also, why would you be dumb enough? I thought that this was a little bit too easy. Like they needed Quentin needed some kind of evidence, so we made Blood really stupid to give it to him. Why would you be dumb enough to write that press release before that person died? Why would you do that? Why? Just wait.
Why would you carry your admittance speech around in your pocket for 3 days until Bane throws you down a tunnel?
Well, I don't know, Eric. But like that's not no that's not even as that's not as silly as this. No, that's not even remotely as silly as this. No, I don't have any. What's wrong with Gordon carrying that speech around?
Why would he keep it? Does he not change his clothes? Does he not take a shower? He wears the same clothes for 3 days straight?
Well, I think that
Why is it in his pocket?
I think the whole thing is that he is that like it's like become like a complex for him. It bothers him that he hasn't told the truth yet, so he's constantly got it with him.
Well,
Like
Blood
he's almost like
needed
he's punishing
somebody to
himself.
understand, so he wrote out the thing.
Look, that's not the same thing. This is really anyway. I don't know why we're talking about that. But so he does
Because
that.
this
Let me
is
ask
kind of Dark Knight Rises.
this just occurred to me. All right. So first of all, Blood uh calls the governor of what state?
Star State.
What? Sorry, what?
I said Star State.
Stars, the 51st state of the union, Eric. Yeah, what state is Starling City a part of? I would have assumed that it was another one of those like it's its own city things, but like he calls the governor of something.
Right?
That's really really strange.
Is it?
Well, yeah, Eric, cuz okay, so
It's an ambiguous
his
fictional city in an ambiguous state. Why does that matter?
um
I didn't think it was like
because
Washington, D.C. Like Gotham's not like Washington, D.C. Gotham's
yeah,
in
it
a
is.
state.
No, it's not. No, it's not. We're never told what state Gotham is in. It's not in a state. Neither is Metropolis.
I think they're in states.
No, they're not. When you look at the okay, so go back to Smallville. Smallville has Metropolis plates. When they're in Metropolis, they have plates that just say Metropolis on them. But when they're in Smallville, they have plates that say Kansas on them. Metropolis is not in a state.
Okay, I've always
It's
assumed that
literally
all of
Gotham.
those cities were in like I assume Central City is in a state, Keystone City is in a state, Hub
Some of them
City's in a
they might be
state.
really ambitious about them, but the really big ones, I don't think they are. And I mean, unless they tell us. But what's weird about it with this, of course, is that so he thinks that being mayor of a city that is inside of a state, inside of a country with a federal government, is a big enough stature that when you mess up the city and everyone is looking to you for leadership, you can create a whole new government
Maybe he's
from
hoping they'll No
scratch.
Man's Land it.
But I'm just saying that's all really kind of silly. Like whenever you have a bad guy plot like this, where it's like I'm going to take over the city and I'm going to make it better than it ever has been before, you're kind of forgetting that there's like a federal
What
government.
state is the city in?
The city, whenever told,
Is it in the state?
it's part of the that's part of the joke. Hey, that's great. It should be in the state. Anyway, sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Okay, my worst moment was your worst moment. What was your favorite line
I didn't have a favorite line.
from either episode?
Nothing really jumped out at me as a single line. Do you have one?
Wow. Well, I had a couple of things I wrote
Well, I
down.
told you I had one, but I had to cut it.
I didn't really like. I didn't really find anything especially quotable from the first episode. The second one, I did write down that line we mentioned earlier. What do you think? Should we hit her again? But then,
That
and then right before that, I just like that scene, I guess, because I also thought it was really funny when she said, "I really thought the airbags were gonna go off." But then I also thought I don't know why this was so weird. Blood refers to the Mirakuru soldiers as Slade's juiced up jackboots. Your juiced up jackboots. I thought that was really funny.
yeah.
So let's go on to I mean, did you have any major stuff for what's the big idea?
Um, I'm hoping the big idea comes together.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Uh, between the between the two episodes, the first one is kind of a big self-sacrifice thing, and I like that it's kind of about when that's necessary and when it's in kind of an easy out. And it's with the flashback, the guy who puts himself in the torpedo tube, he is it's his time. That's the right time for him to do that. But with Oliver in present day, that's not his time, and it would be an easy out. And also, it's almost more penance than anything for him right then. Again, with Laurel, I'm not a big fan of the way that they got him out of it, but I like kind of thematically what that was dealing with, and then you've got just this kind of generic with the second part, kind of save the city and what does that mean, and then all of the revenge stuff we've been dealing with all season. Comic book references. This is the first time we've ever heard anybody actually call the ship the Amazo.
No, we had
It's the first
that.
time anybody's actually said it out loud.
I feel like, well, it was probably in uh whatever the first. What's the first episode? Is that City of Blood?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I think it was in City of Blood because I think I noticed it in City of Blood, and then they do it again in Streets of Fire.
right. Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about them together.
No, 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 no. You're right. I was just thinking through it in my head.
In City of Blood, we see someone called Clinton Hogue, who is a really minor character in the comics. He's a follower of Brother Blood in the comics, and also is here. And he appeared in 52 and Animal Man by Jeff Lemire, and is apparently a horribly deformed creature in that, who is the leader of something called Splinter Folk, which is a radical animal rights group.
Nice.
What else? Fifth and Adams. We have another street corner mentioning a major contributor to Green Arrow comics. And now let's go on to predictions. Major predictions, Eric. Go ahead.
Um, I don't even know. Uh,
well, yeah. A couple times you said I'm going to save that for predictions. I thought maybe you would have something.
well, but then we ended up talking about it anyways.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I mean, if
The League of Assassins shows up, and that's how they take care of all the Mirakuru soldiers.
yeah, but that could be really cool to watch.
Oh, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I'm. And then
Wouldn't it be really
and then
funny if it was
Oliver
just
confronts Slade and is like, "I'm not gonna kill you." And then out of nowhere, Quentin shows up and is like, "I don't know much, but I've got a gun," and he takes out Slade.
I think no matter what
Arrow.
you do, what no matter what they do, you just wrote a better ending than they wrote. Like I don't care what they do, that's the way it should go down. I love it. I don't know much. That's great. That's the one liner too. That's what it would have to be. So are we both pretty much in agreement that the last person who has to die is Laurel?
And I hate it so much.
I know, me too. I hope that's not it, but I really think that's probably what it is. I don't like that he said that because then we find out that his plan is to kill all these people in the city. So no, that's not the last person that has to die.
And why
Because
wouldn't he just go to Laurel's apartment and kill her? Like, he literally could just open the door and be like, ah, and got her, and like that would have been that, right?
well, maybe he wanted it to be the last person who died. Because he hadn't killed all those people in the city yet, and he wants to destroy Oliver's whole city. Yeah, I mean, how systematic is it going to be about this? Is it going to be okay if just a lot of people die, or do they all have to die? Like, what does it have to be? What does it mean?
Now that I think about it, Blood was the first mayor on the Cinder.
I think there's a good chance that Queen Mansion gets destroyed.
I think there's a good chance everything gets destroyed. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose all our sets next episode.
Yeah, me too. Especially because they have that lingering moment where Thea, having lost everything and lost her job and about to leave the mansion, is looking around at the mansion, and I really feel like that might be the last time we really get to see it.
I'm also gonna predict that since the League of Shadows is showing up and saving the day, I'm gonna predict that Thea goes with the League of Shadows. She has nothing left, and she joins up with the League of Assassins.
I would not be surprised if she and well, I was gonna say if she and Malcolm run off together, but then he might be dead, but he's probably not dead.
It's just like last season. I'm
I
pretty
just
sure
love.
he's dead. No, he's not. Look at the wound. No, he's dead.
Is it gonna be like this every season with that guy? What do you think, Eric? Is he dead? No, that guy doesn't die, man. He always comes back. I
Really,
just love.
5 seasons in, you're still asking me this question?
Let's see. I think next season Oliver changes his whole MO, the way he handles things, kind of like he did this season, where before he was killing people, now he wants to be a hero. He's not killing people. I think that everything that's happened has been so often because he and his mother kept secrets that next season he's going to be very transparent about things. I think they're going to make a really big deal out of that. Like he'll keep his secret identity from the public, but there's going to be a whole lot of okay, I'm telling everyone everything now.
Well, I know Steve Amell said that he misses saying "you failed this city" and he wants to get that back in season 3. So
Oh, that's fun. I liked that he said it here. I mean, it was kind of melodramatic, but I like that he said, "I failed this
so
city."
it might that might work into his MO. So he stopped killing people. Next season he's gonna stop shooting people with arrows. He's just gonna give people like stern talking tos.
He's going to only aim for the legs.
Oh yeah.
And then I think this is obvious, but we're gonna see the finally the scene where Oliver shoots Slade in the eye next episode, right?
We have to.
Yeah. Like that's got to be coming. I've been finding it, by the way, somewhat a little bit awkward that we keep talking about that and we keep dealing with. We keep having Oliver berating himself for the fact that he could have saved Slade but chose not to, and we haven't seen it yet. And I'm a little bit worried that that might be wonky and not play right.
I said that since the beginning, though. I said what
Oh yeah, no, I know you certainly have.
that no matter what they do, there's not a convincing way that arrow gets in that mask on that pike.
Well, but also, what is that? I know all that, but what is the situation where you could have cured him? This man that you don't know if you could even kill if you wanted to because he's so strong with the Mirakuru. What is the situation where you choose not to cure him and instead to try to kill him? You see what I'm saying? Like I just don't know
They
if
don't
that's.
have a cure right now in the flashbacks.
I don't know if that's going to play. Well, yeah, they do. Slade's holding it.
But I mean, they don't have it. Well, I guess he could use it. Yeah.
No, they don't have it yet. But like the way Oliver's been talking, there's going to be a situation where he's got that cure and can
That's a
give it.
lot for how little we've been getting. Yeah, I was thinking about this with this whole season. We've gotten a lot of episodes this season that have not been island flashbacks. Like last season, it was one episode. We've had four
It's
or
been
five
four or
this season.
five. Yeah, no, you're right, and some of them have been really good.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But I feel like they need a lot of time for the flashback next episode.
Yeah, I think you're right. It would be really interesting if it was like half and half.
But I feel like maybe that would be enough for the flashback, but I feel like that would be cutting short the present day stuff.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting that we get to the end of the season and it doesn't seem like they have enough time.
Yeah, especially because the past couple episodes, it's felt like they've kind of been killing time.
Yeah, wow. Well, let's go ahead and go on to trivia questions. And what was your trivia question for last time? And what was the answer, sir?
My trivia question for last time was how many prior live action shows has Deathstroke been in? And the answer was two. He was in Smallville and Lois and Clark.
He was in Lois and Clark?
Yep.
Did he have the Deathstroke mask in that?
Oh no,
No?
no, he was Deathstroke in name only.
Oh, okay.
I think he might have actually been an assassin in that. Well, let me look it up right now. The assassin by name Deathstroke. Yeah. Appeared.
Wow.
The only commonality is the fact that he's an international assassin known as Deathstroke. Deathstroke is a former scientist. When that when an accident in a lab exposed him to magnetic particles, permanently altering his body and granting him magnetic powers.
Why would they make Deathstroke of all people someone with magnetic powers? All right, well, my trivia question for last time was what city did the girl that Oliver impregnated go to school in? And the answer was Central City. And what is your trivia question for this week, Eric?
My trivia question for this week, I had trouble finding one, so I went with an easy one, which is what is Green Arrow's most famous trick arrow?
Oh yeah, that is an easy one.
Yeah, I had trouble
Well,
coming up with something. I wanted to have something tied to the episode, but I couldn't come up with anything.
mine is a tough one. Mine is from City of Blood, and it's what is Starling City's motto as seen on the crest in the Office of the Mayor logo? We see that briefly on a computer monitor, and it's kind of a neat looking logo. So I thought I would ask about that. Well, anyway, everybody, thanks as always for listening, and I guess we were a little bit rough on these. I should say that, like I said, production values are great. I had a lot of fun watching these, but boy, just had as we both keep saying, just had a lot of problems in execution getting all this stuff lining up from earlier. So anyway, everybody, thanks again for listening, and we are looking forward to seeing what you thought about these episodes, and we will talk about some of your questions and comments at the beginning of our next episode. And then, Eric, we're going to, over the summer, get back to some Netflix roulette.
I'm excited.
I am excited as well. And then in the fall, Eric and I are going to be doing both this show and the Constantine show.
Yes.
Which we're both kind of excited about, having just seen the trailer. So anyway, thanks again for listening. We sure appreciate it. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.